Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys at Magic. This is Hunter, Steven, David, and Shane. Say what up, boys.
What's going on?
What's up, guys?
What's up, nerds?
We are back this time doing another Commander Grades video. That's right, we're going through every single pre-con deck of the new Fallout series because there are quite a lot of new legends for every single deck. If you guys don't know what this is, basically all we do is discuss each legendary creature as a potential commander, kind of discuss why we think one way or the other, and then at the end, we give a grade, and then at the very end, average grade between all four of us. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start this off. We are doing the Scrappy Survivors deck. This first legendary card from this deck is Cait, Cage Brawler. It is a red and a green for a 1/1 legendary creature human warrior. It says as long as it's your turn, Cait, Cage Brawler has indestructible. And whenever Cait attacks, you and defending player each draw a card, then discard a card. Put 2+1/+1 counters on Cait if you discarded the card with the highest mana value among those cards, or tied for the highest. Very interesting card. What do you think, David?
So my brain just gravitates towards the fact that this is very cheap and it has indestructible on your turn. So you play this with all of the red big damage board wipe spells and you never have to worry about your commander dying.
I mean, yes, that's one way to build the deck.
I mean, he'll get in for damage eventually, right?
I guess. You're letting your
So
opponent sculpt their hand though, right? Like, I don't know if I like that, dude.
Well, I mean, you each draw. Yeah, I mean, you're giving card draw to your opponent.
Yeah, and then if they don't want the card, they get to discard it.
True. But also, you're making Cait big, right? With 2 counters. If you're just tossing big stuff. However, you're not in black, so how hard is it to get stuff back from the grave?
It depends. If you're playing lands or artifacts, not very difficult. Red and green are good at both of those.
But if you're pitching lands, you're not getting those counters more than likely.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. If they pitched a land and you pitched a land, it's tied for the highest.
Oh my god.
You're not wrong.
All right.
I don't know. What do you think, Steven?
I mean, it's a good card. Cheap, comes down very fast. You're in Gruul. This is basically a Voltron style deck. Indestructible. Give it trample. I mean, I don't even think I really care about getting stuff back from the graveyard. I think this is just a deck that is trying to win very fast. Very, very fast. I think you're trying to sculpt your hand to find those board wipes. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even think you put another creature in the deck.
Just only putting board wipes in your deck.
Let's go.
There we go.
Board wipes, trample effects, enchantments to make this really, really big, and just, I mean, protection spells, and just swing for commander damage.
One way to do it.
I mean, you could also dig into that +1/+1 counters theme too. I mean, this is being in green. You could do things like hardened scales. Foreign collects, I've heard, is pretty good in +1/+1 counters. It's also not cheap. So, like, if you do end up pitching it for whatever reason, you probably got 2 counters on this thing.
You're not wrong. That would be a good card to put in this. I don't know. I am still kind of on the side of Shane where I don't like helping my opponent ever. And this helps your opponent sculpt their hand as well. So
Yeah, but all of their removal won't work on your turn. So they'll just cast that on somebody else's turn. But
David.
it won't work on your turn.
David, you're
bot removal
forgetting
definitely works
You're
when it comes
forgetting
to
about-
exile effects.
so many mass exile effects, David, that don't give any care indestructible.
There are 2 mass exile effects
Well,
that
and
you play.
I
Thank
see
you
them
very
every
much.
game.
That's because you play with Hunter.
But
Farewell.
but
baby.
if you play only this card as your only creature, it doesn't really matter. There's
There's
tons
also-
of ways to get haste effects in red and green.
I don't know.
See?
Let's move on to the grades. I think we're all split here, but I'm going to start us off. Cait, Cage Brawler for me, the average grade of a C.
I love how you speak with the average grade whenever you're the only one who has given it. Well, I am going to give my average grade. I'm going to give him a D, or her a D. Which one is it? It's the
Cait.
chick,
I think
right?
it's Cait. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's the
Cait for
Cait Brawler.
Caitlyn. Yeah.
That makes
with-
more sense now that I say this out loud.
I'm with Dave though. I was gonna give this a D, and it's still gonna be a D.
When I first read this card, I greatly hated it, but after hyping myself up, man, I really like this card. I think it's a B for me.
Well, Cait, Cage Brawler, gets the average grade from all of us as a C. Next up is Cass, Hand of Vengeance. It's 2, a red and a white for a 4/3 legendary creature human ranger. It's got vigilance and says whenever Cass or another creature you control dies, if it was enchanted or equipped, return any number of aura cards that were attached to it from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to target creature. Then attach any number of equipment that were attached to it to that creature. Steven, you kind of have like an aura deck. What do we think of Cass?
Yeah, this is Boros, so it's shit, right?
No, Boros is fantastic.
I mean, this is a really good card. I mean, it kind of gets around. I mean, unless there's mass board wipes, but I mean, like exile effects. I mean, but like, other than that, this gets around a lot. It's kind of cool, actually. And I hate saying that.
I think it's cool too. Just the fact that if you're putting all the pants on one creature and that creature dies, then all of the pants go onto another creature. That's pretty cool without having to pay for any equip costs, and your auras just don't disappear. It's nice.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think my problem with this though is that you still have to be playing auras.
And
I don't know.
It could be enchantments.
It's like auras are enchantments, Shade.
That's what I. Never mind.
I know what you meant. I think
Thank
you're
you.
going with the or could be equipped. But like your equipment's not going to go back to the graveyard, so I'm not super caring about all that. Plus, Boros has like a million decks that do equipment matters anyways. My thought here more so being is that like normally if you're putting the pants on a creature, your creature probably has like hexproof or indestructible or one of those things that makes it like a pain in the butt to deal with. So how good is this card actually going to be?
I mean, if you didn't have that one card that gives it hexproof, indestructible, something, then it would be good.
Okay, but like if you're building your deck correctly for Voltron and you are using a bunch of auras and equipments, let's be real. You're really going to focus on the ones that are going to protect your creature, help keep it alive.
I understand that, but at the time, we're not in magical Christmas land all the time. So you could just go ahead and not have that card yet.
You could, in which case I actually don't think this gets better.
I think it's fine. I think if a creature dies with anything equipped or anything attached, and there's another creature on the board, it just moves.
I understand the positive that you're trying to sell me on for this one. I'm just not really. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the upside here.
I mean, I was the one that upgraded this deck, and it seems like a really good, like, support piece. I guess it would be good to be able to reliably do this ability, so maybe not. Maybe this is better than just a support piece. Okay, maybe I'm on board with Hunter.
There we go. Boros, let's go.
I'm being converted, David. I don't like this.
You go for it, dude.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We'll start with Steven. Steven, what are you giving Cass Hand of Vengeance?
C, middle of the road. It's all right.
Shane, you did mention this was a great support piece in the deck. I do believe it is a better support piece in different kind of equipment matters decks. So for that reason, I am also going with Steven. It is a C for me.
Yeah, I think I should probably be middle of the road with this as well. I'm gonna give it a C.
I'm gonna hate on it. I think I think at the very best it's a C. So I'm gonna say that this is a D most of the time. It's a D.
Well, Cass Hand of Vengeance gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to Codsworth, Handy Helper. It's 2 and a white for a 2/3 legendary artifact creature robot. It says commanders you control have Ward 2. It also says you can tap it to add 2 white mana. Spend this mana only to cast aura and or equipment spells. And another ability we could tap it, attach target aura or equipment you control to target creature you control, activate only as a sorcery. Fun fact, if this was your commander, it gives itself Ward 2.
Very nice.
How do we feel about Codsworth, Shane?
I think that this is a great support piece again. I think that in a multicolored deck, this would shine more, in my opinion. I do get that it would give itself a ward, right? That'd be your commander. And the ability is strong, but I kind of just feel like, at least in the upgrade that I did for the Doge, this was like a really good piece in that upgrade. I don't know if I'd want it to be at the helm of that, but I mean, its ability is relevant.
You know what I would like it to add on this card?
What?
That ability where it gives it mana only to cast aura or equipment. If it also said or activate equipment like costs,
Yeah, I can see that.
that'd be really cool.
Yeah. But I think in the name, dude, a handy helper. He's just gonna be a helper for me.
It just help me put stuff on, you know?
I mean, it does.
Yeah, I understand that it does in the second ability, and it does it for free. But that first ability, it'd be cool if it just did it as well.
I mean, I think it's shitty just because both abilities you tap.
Yep.
And that's just the shitty thing. So you have to pick what you want to do. I'm not a fan of this being at the helm of anything.
Yeah, I'm thinking about this. Like turn 3, you get this in play. Turn 4, you use its ability. Turn 5, maybe you swing, and that's like I'm trying to imagine the best case scenario with it. My mind went to Colossal Hammer or Colossus Hammer. I'm sorry to like put the pants on this, but like turn 5, you got a 12-13 with Ward 2. That's gonna get blocked by a 1/1, and I think that's probably how good this card gets.
I mean, you could be playing on curve and play something before this to equip to that thing, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't want it at my helm.
Well, that being my point still, though, is that like this activates most likely on turn 4 to be able to equip something.
Let's see.
Even when you do, if you put it on this, I mean, it's tapped.
Yeah,
true. I think we're all on the same page. It is a helper more than a commander. Let's move on to the grades. Shane, what do you give in Codsworth?
As a commander, I'm going to give him an F, honestly.
Yeah, I am going to join you. Codsworth is an F for me.
I'm actually going to give him a D. He's able to cheat the equip cost, so I think that there's like some usability there.
No, it's an F.
Well, Codsworth Handy Helper gets the average grade of an F. Moving on to Commander Sofia Daguerre. 3 and a white for a 1/3 legendary creature human pilot. It's got flash. It also has crashed landing, which means when enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target legendary permanent. That permanent's controller creates a junk token.
Nah.
So we're really quickly going to move on from this one, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I think that's my favorite card we've talked about.
You're so
far.
dumb.
No, for real.
We're not dwelling on this, dude.
No, you flicker this, and your opponents just don't get their commanders anymore.
I'm not listening to David.
Yeah, I'm not
But
listening to David either.
what happens when the commander just isn't on the field?
What do you mean?
Well, then you flicker it. Duh.
You have other
Then
cool stuff.
then you don't flicker it. Look, here's the thing: is if I have managed to flicker this and destroy your commander 3 or 4 times, you're just not going to be playing your commander anymore. In which case, this has done its job. Also, it's going to be the best commander at the table because it has the word commander in its name.
Stupid.
Like for reals though, like who is going to be the first one who casts their commander sitting across from somebody who's playing this? Because you know that like the second you cast your commander, it's all hands are off. Like this person is going to drop it. They're going to kill your thing. This also has flash, so there's that extra layer of suspense. I'm willing to bet you probably wait until this thing is already in play before you cast your commander. This is going to slow you down. They're going to flicker it. They're going to blow up your game plan. I love this card.
You're not selling me at all.
Cool.
All right,
Really quickly move to the grades so we can have David give us a D.
Okay, here we go. Let's move on to the grades because I don't think there's much to talk about here. So let's start with David.
Hear it, Dave.
I think this card is, I think this card, honestly, I think it's a C. I think that it's totally fine. I think that there's a lot of shenanigans that can be had with this card. Just let your opponents live in fear.
David, you persuaded me enough to move up from my F to a D.
I did it.
Congratulations.
Steven, did he persuade you?
I mean, I was at a D and I'm still at a D.
So yes.
Well, I was at an F and I'm going to stay at an F.
All right. Well, Commander Sofia Daguerre is going to get the average grade of a D. Next up, everybody's favorite doggo. It is Dogmeat, ever loyal. It's a red, a green, and a white for a 3/3 legendary creature, dog. It says when Dogmeat enters the battlefield, mill 5 cards, then return an aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever a creature you control that's enchanted or equipped attacks, create a junk token. Shane, you had the opportunity to go ahead and upgrade this deck using Dogmeat Everloyal as the face commander. If you guys haven't seen that video, check the links in the description for the $100 and $300 upgrades. But Shane, what do we think about Dogmeat Everloyal?
I think he's fun, man. Honestly, I like the recursion on him. I'm still iffy on the junk, honestly. Like, I get that it's card advantage. I guess I just need to see it more in practice to see if I can utilize it as much as I think I can. I don't know, like, the junk aspect of that, I think is good. I'll just leave it at I think it's good there. But I do like the recursion part. And, like, when your big scary things die, the fact that he can just go and get them for you, like the good boy that he is, that's pretty good. This is the way that I would kind of built this was like probably only equipping 1 or 2 things, so you're not making too much junk, but yeah, it's more like put a bunch of pants on one guy, and maybe that one guy's this loyal Doge. I think he's cool.
I think it's interesting with the junk tokens, specifically for this deck that wants to grab things back from the graveyard when junk tokens exile things.
That is interesting, you're right.
Don't necessarily know if I like the combination of both. I like junk tokens. I don't know if I like it when it comes to a strategy that wants to bring things back from the grave.
Yeah, I think you need to like crack them and then use them immediately. At least the plan.
Yeah, but if you crack something that you don't have the mana for, you're just big sad.
That's just pilot error.
Is it?
I don't know, I'm just kidding.
I mean, nothing's forcing you to sack those junk tokens.
True.
I think this
What do we-
card is really weird because the way that this thing is worded is like it doesn't actually want to be just a one thing attacking. It really wants you to go wide. So like you want to have a lot of things equipped for you to be able to like maximize the junk. I don't know. The first ability on this card I actually don't care about at all. It's entirely just like making a ton of junk tokens and being able to use those just like a resource to help you dig through your deck and get card advantage.
I would like this card a lot better if the equipment or aura went right back onto the battlefield instead of in your hand.
That'd be strong. Be really strong.
Yeah.
But like that's part of the reason why I don't really care much for this card. There is that whiff potential there, of which like you've just milled 5 cards for no benefit, and then past that, it's like it's not really doing a whole lot for you. Like sure, you get the best choice of the equipment or the aura, but there's a pretty solid chance you have one choice. So was that any better than just like draw a card?
Well, it depends on what's in your graveyard already, right?
That's-
'Cause
yeah.
if something was blown up already, or a creature was killed that had an aura that just went to the graveyard and something you want to get back, and I guess you just kind of just leave Dogmeat into the command zone until you're ready.
Or I guess it doesn't like punish you a whole lot whenever you do recast him later on. But I don't know. I do like the junk token aspect of this card much more.
Yeah, like I said, I like junk.
Yeah, so Dogmeat's kind of cool. I mean, it does the thing without, putting it back on the battlefield, so it's kind of unfortunate, but I mean, junk's a great mechanic. It does kind of suck that it does have to be enchanted, but that's the entire point of the deck, so it shouldn't be that hard to get those junk tokens. I do agree with David. I think the first part of this card is kind of stupid. I think the junk is kind of what you're looking for at this. I'm just not a big fan that I have to pay 3 mana to bring something back, and then 5, and then 7. That's the one reason why I'm not high on this card. And at that point, I've milled 5, 10, 15 cards.
That's your favorite kind of commander cost, isn't it?
Sure, not in my favorite colors.
Naya is the best.
No, it's not.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with you, Shane. You upgraded the deck. What do we think about Dogmeat?
I think he's loyal, dude. I want to give him a B though.
I think he's loyal.
He's ever loyal. I'm gonna go 1 lower than you. I think he's a C.
I'm gonna give him a D. I think he actually requires a lot of setup in order for him to be decent.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with David on this one. I was debating between a C and a D, but I think I'm more leaning towards the D.
All right. Well, Dogmeat Everloyal gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to Duchess Wayward Tavernkeep. It is 3 and a red for a 4/3 legendary creature human citizen. It has Hunters for Hire. which means whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a quest counter on it. Has another ability. You could pay 1, remove a quest counter from a permanent you control, create a junk token.
What's the next card that we're talking about?
Is that strong enough, Steven?
No. No, it's not. For 4 mana, this is not good at all.
Oh,
Hey,
it's not.
if you get KCI though, like you can sacrifice a junk to make 2 mana to then pull 2 more of the quest counters off to get more junk.
All right. Yep,
Wow.
we broke KCI.
It's also cool that it's whenever a creature, meaning not whenever 1 or more creatures. So it's every time a creature connects,
Let's be
you
real.
put a quest counter.
If this was only like once per turn, we would not be talking about this card at all.
I'm not low on it. I'm okay with this card. I think this has the ability to produce a lot of mana. Or not
You
a
know
lot
what?
of mana.
I'm
What?
okay
A
with
lot
this
of
card
junk.
too. And being low on it.
I don't know about this, man. Quest counters are just low, dude.
I mean, if you have like a contagion clasp or something like that, you can have ways to proliferate. And it's also an ability that doesn't require you to tap this down. So you can just pay the 1 over and over and over. However many
It
quest
does.
counters.
It does require that you do 2 things. Number 1, it requires you have a ton of unused mana, which means you're probably just not playing the game of Magic. And also, it requires that your creatures deal combat damage. It's not just like whenever they attack.
That's
True.
doable. I mean, in mono red, you said a ton of mana. It's all about treasure production.
This is about junk production.
This card is, yes. And the more junk you have, the more ways to find your combo piece if you want to do a combo.
We're moving on.
Yeah, I think we're moving on.
And I'm just trying to talk this card up, man. All right, let's move on to the grades then. What are you giving this, David?
This card is an F. It's actually really bad.
No, this card is a C.
What? Okay.
Steven just said it all.
Even
I felt like that meme of the guy that's like just like blinking. Like that I can't believe it. Yeah, this is an F.
yeah, I actually kind of agree that this is an F, man.
Well, Duchess, Wayward, Tavernkeep gets the average grade of a D.
That's ridiculous.
You see what you did, Hunter?
That's ridiculous, dude.
The next card is Ian the Reckless. It is 1 and a red for a 2/1 legendary creature human warrior. It says whenever Ian the Reckless attacks, if it's modified, you may have it deal damage equal to its power to any target. Is this better than the last card, Shane?
1,000%.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna get around blockers, dude. Boom.
It's cheaper. It has built-in removal. Is this card better than the last one?
Hey, David, though, it doesn't deal with quest counters, so I don't know if it's as
If
good,
it had a
dude.
quest counter, it's technically modified.
Yeah, it works totally fine with quest counters.
No, I'm just saying that's why Hunter doesn't whatever. Yeah, I do think this card's much better than the last card, Hunter.
Hey, I didn't say it was
Oh, you're just
bad card.
okay.
I like this
okay.
card a lot. It's
Good.
just a question.
Well, the question is yes, or the answer to the question is yes. You're gonna put the pants on, and you're just gonna start shooting stuff.
Hunter, let me ask you the question. Do you think this card is better than the last card?
I do.
Cool. So we're at least a B, according to Hunter.
I
Hunter,
actually,
oh,
spoiler alert, that's my grade.
we're not there yet, guys. Slow down.
But no, I like Ian the Reckless a lot. I think this card is very good because, yeah, I don't know. Whenever it attacks, like you could just do the damage to someone's face if they don't have any blockers. It's gonna do a lot of damage.
Huh? And then if they do have blockers, you shoot it down, like David said.
Or if they have 2 blockers, you just don't attack that player because Ian's probably not going to get in for damage.
That's probably a good idea. That's probably a good idea.
It doesn't even matter if he deals damage or not. It's just when he attacks.
My argument here being is starting off at a 2/1, he's a little on the fragile side.
Luckily,
He's
cheap.
reckless.
He's very. Look at his hand. He's about to tank his hand, dude.
Yeah. He also had those like power multipliers because this is dealing damage. So if a target from a red source would deal damage, it deals twice that much damage. This card can get nuts in one turn.
I mean, look, I do agree with you that there is potential. I do, however, feel like this is a little bit more of a glass cannon style deck where, like, if he dies one time, sure, you can recast him, but that's eating up like 2 of your turns. So, like, I do feel like it is a little bit more fragile in that, like, if you deal with him once, you really stutter that player's game plan.
I don't know, David.
know.
I'm gonna put anger in the
mana.
graveyard. Then what?
You're going to put your commander in the
No,
graveyard?
I'm gonna put anger in the graveyard.
Oh, that is definitely not what I heard. I was like,
Oh.
okay, so you put him in the graveyard, and then what? Am I supposed to be
and then
afraid?
he, and then he
You
dies in the
pay-
graveyard. No, I'm saying because if you have a way to give him haste, dude, boom, he's right back on. He's going crazy. He's reckless.
Let's move on to the grades.
Well, we know Hunter's.
this-
Say it, Hunter.
Yeah, I'll say it again. Ian the Reckless for me, it's a B. It's a good card.
I like him. I think I'm gonna give him a C because, like David said, he's fragile. Scared. I'm scared.
And I'll agree, he is fragile, so I'll give him a B.
I like him a lot. He's a D.
Yeah, there it is.
Whoa. Wow.
David likes being difficult.
Ian
I'm
the
here for.
Reckless. Ian the Reckless gets the average grade of a C. This next card is Moira Brown, Guide Author. It is 1 a red and a white for a 2/3 legendary creature human citizen. It says when it enters the battlefield, create a colorless equipment artifact token named Wasteland Survival Guide, and equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each quest counter among permanents you control, and equip cost of 1. It also says whenever you attack, put a quest counter on a target non-land permanent you control.
I
Boy,
don't
oh
like it.
boy.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not my favorite either.
I think that it's. I mean, I get. Oh, I'm gonna say a thing, and then you guys will say that I'm wrong. But
I mean,
If
it might
you-
as well just say once each turn.
well, yeah,
Or not once each turn, but like
unless you have
On
multiple
your
attack
turn.
steps. But I'm just saying, like, if you kill the map, like, card just puts quest counters on stuff.
Well, you gotta blink it, right, Dave?
Yeah.
No.
No?
I mean, you can do
You don't have to try to find the good in it, dude.
like
we're trying
are
pretty hard right now.
there are a couple of the I'm trying to think of the red and the white enchantments, the ones that actually have quest counters. The white one has angels on it, and I don't remember its name. And then oh god,
The red one's called Duchess, Wayward, Tavernkeep, Dave. We just
Luminarch-
talked about it.
no, Luminarch Ascension, and Quest for Pure Flame. There's actually a couple of these things. Quest for the Goblin Lord is another one. There's Quest for Holy Knight. There actually are like several enchantments out there that do put quest counters on themselves.
Huh?
So like there are ways that you can make this bigger without necessarily just solely having to rely on itself.
I mean, yeah, if the Wasteland Survival Guide's still there.
I'm saying, like, what
Shane
if you
was say-
destroy it,
Shane
dude?
was say- Shane was saying once that's gone, what happens? And I said, just blink it.
You're right. I was grasping at straws. I was trying to find something. I apologize. Like,
Hey, you found something, all right? Quest
Oh.
counters, they're real.
I
I'll
mean,
let Hunter
there
talk
are
to you
quest
anyways.
counters out there.
Okay.
Mhm. What do you think about Moira Brown, Steven?
It's garbage.
Okay, let's move on to the grades. What are you giving this, Steven?
F.
Love it. Love it. I'm right there with you. F.
It's a D.
This is a wacky deck that relies pretty heavily on a lot of enchantments to support it. I do not even kind of understand how Steven is giving this an F. I'm going to give it a D.
Moira Brown, guide author, gets the average grade of a D.
I mean, Shane said the best thing about this card. I mean, just get rid of the guide.
And then it does
That's it.
nothing.
It doesn't do anything.
Moving on to the backup commander of Scrappy Survivors, it's Preston Garvey, Minuteman. It's 2 a red, a green, and a white for a 4/4 legendary creature human soldier. It says at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a green aura enchantment token named Settlement attached to up to 1 target land you control. It has enchant land, and enchanted land has tap, add 1 mana of any color. It also says whenever Preston Garvey Minuteman attacks, untap each enchanted permanent you control. Shane, I'm
Yeah.
going to start with you again.
Yeah.
As you upgraded the deck, you did not go the Preston Garvey route, but what do you think about Preston Garvey?
I think his second ability seems strong. The ability to untap all your enchanted permanents. That could be due to a vigilance if all your creatures are enchanted. Plus, I guess if you're doing that land, you'll get another land. Is that enough? Possibly. I don't know. I didn't keep him as the face commander, but the ability, the second ability does seem strong.
I mean, both abilities are strong. You
Yeah,
don't have to swing. It's just the beginning of combat on your turn. That's
It's true.
fantastic.
If you have anything on the field that cares about how much enchantments that you have, this is just making an enchantment every single combat on your turn.
All the glitters
Yeah.
Exactly.
goes into
Ancestral
them.
Mask.
Yep.
Mhm.
Also, kind of a little important note here that I think you guys may be just kind of glossing over. The enchanted permanent, the enchanted land, it does have that like tap to add 1 mana of any color, but you don't actually have to use that to be able to untap it. So you can use his ability on like a Lotus Field, and then you just have 6 mana. Or you can use it on like an Ancient Tomb to be able to tap the Ancient Tomb and then untap the Ancient Tomb, and then tap the Ancient Tomb again. That's 4 mana. So like there are ways that you can have quite a bit of fun whenever it comes to those lands.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Definitely.
What happens if you enchant all your lands? Can you keep enchanting them?
Of course.
Why not?
I don't know. I just
Yes,
the
you can.
question. Okay.
I think we're all pretty high on this card. Let's move on to the grades. We'll start with Steven. Steven, what are you giving Preston Garvey?
I hate giving Naya any good grade, but this is a B for me. Unless it's Voja.
I think I'm going to agree with you. Just the fact that we talked about how he can create 1 enchantment every single combat on your turn is pretty powerful.
I think I'm gonna agree with you as well. I like him. B.
I think he's cool. I think he's very unique. I'm very excited to see kind of like how we think or how things continue to develop in the future. I know that for I think it's Modern Horizons 3, it looks like we're getting a desert deck. Or I'm sorry, not Modern Horizons 3, actually the Cowboy set coming out after this one. So yeah, there could be some fun stuff, maybe some new lands. For now though, I think he's actually just middle of the road. I think he's a C.
All right. Well, Preston Garvey Minuteman gets the average grade of a B. This next card is 3-Dog Galaxy News DJ. It's 1 and a red and a white for a 1/5 legendary creature human bard. It says whenever you attack, you may pay 2 and sacrifice an aura attached to 3-Dog Galaxy News DJ. When you sacrifice an aura this way, for each other attacking creature you control, create a token that's a copy of that aura attached to that creature. This seems pretty powerful, David.
I don't like I know I don't like the tax there in the very beginning.
Paying 2?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm actually give me 1 sec here. Maybe I'm missing something with this card.
You're paying 2, sacking an aura that's attached to him, and creating that aura attached to everything else you control.
You don't have to attack with him. It's just whenever you attack too.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't actually missing anything. I don't really care for him. This requires that I have an aura that I care about. This requires that I have a board in order to actually like do something with him, and he's also kind of mana taxing for me to just like use his ability. Plus, like he's going to be getting rid of the thing that was attached to him, so that leaves open like a window of opportunity for your opponent to just remove this, and then the aura and your game plan is just gone.
Well, the good news is you don't need to attack with him. So go ahead and just attack with something else, sack the thing that's attached to him, and give it to the thing that's attacking.
Yeah, but I just thought about that too, man. Like you declaring moving to combat, and then we remove it, and then you go, bummer.
Yeah, and then you're just like, oh well, I guess my 1/1s are just gonna stay 1/1s.
I think there's because it happens in one motion. You pay 2 and sack an aura.
Yeah,
I'm saying-
you say I'm going to combat,
Yeah.
or I'm going to move to attacks, and then
Yeah.
at that point your opponent says,
No.
all right, well I'm gonna kill your commander, and then you go, oh okay, and then now my commander and my aura are both just dead.
True. I mean, that's possible.
So in other words, what I'm hearing is this card's really good because if it does make it to combat and nobody stops it, it's a bad day for everyone else.
I
So in
still
other
don't
words,
think so.
we're saying this card's bad because it's a hate generator.
It is. It is a hate generator, but I also think that it's kind of slow and fragile.
Yeah.
I don't think it's slow and
It's-
fragile. I think that you're in Boros and there's plenty of ways to get, whether it's extra combats if you really want, or haste, multiple attack triggers. I think that with the aura attached to this, and then you're just making a massive army, which Boros does very well. And every set, we seem to see other cards that just get added to a Boros pile list. I think this is probably going to be at the helm of a lot of Boros decks moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's powerful.
I can imagine moving all that glitters from this guy to your army of tokens, and now they're huge for strikers. Kind of crazy.
But let's go ahead and move on to the grades. I'm giving 3 Dog a B.
I'm gonna give him a D.
We're all over the place.
I mean, I'll
Even.
go with you over there, Hunter. I'll give this a B.
And I think I need to be the diplomat here, and I'm going to go in the middle. So I'm going to give it a C.
All right, 3 Dog Galaxy News DJ gets the average grade of a C. And this final card we are talking about today is Veronica, Dissident Scribe. It's 2 in a red for a 3/3 legendary creature human artificer rogue. It's got menace and says whenever it attacks, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. It also says whenever you discard 1 or more non-land cards for the first time each turn, create a junk token.
Even it's got Menache.
What does it mean, ma'am?
That's your word.
I mean, it's my word.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that means you like it. You
No,
don't like
I mean
you
this card is. I do enjoy this card, but I'm not a big fan of the card.
do.
It's like a watered down version of Professional Facebreaker.
Yeah, like
Kind of.
super watered down.
It gets you that junk, though.
It does get you junk, and it draws you a card.
I want my treasure though.
True.
Yeah, it's gonna draw you a card, but you have to discard first. So it's not draw and discard. It's just like you have to pitch something and hope that whatever you're drawing is better than what you just pitched.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on this card either.
I'm not really.
I don't think it's very good. I think this is a quick one, boys. Let's move on to the grades. Veronica, what are you giving it, Shane?
They were calling me Veronica. I'm going to give Veronica a D.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go lower. I'm going to give Veronica an F.
I think we were all over the place on all these cards. I'm actually at a C.
I definitely think this is a B.
Stop
I'm playing
it.
with you.
I was going to say,
I'm playing
stop
with you.
it.
No, Veronica's a D.
All right. Veronica, Dissident Scribe, gets the average grade of a D. And that is going to do it for us today. If you liked that video, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you're staying up to date with everything else that we got going on. Comment down below. Did you agree with our grades? Maybe we missed something that we weren't even thinking about with one of these as a potential commander. Always interested to hear what you guys got. And in the description, you will find links to not only the $100 and $300 upgrade of the Scrappy Survivors deck that Shane upgraded. Thank you, Shane. You will also find links to our social media accounts. That's Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. That's @GuysAtMagic for each one. On the screen right now, those are all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your added support. It means the world to us. If you guys wanted to see what they're seeing, which is not here on YouTube, just extra content, check the link in the description and Patreon and consider subscribing. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.